My sister looked at me with a face full of pity, her eyes brimming with sympathy. Samuel, your arranged marriage partner has changed. I was in the middle of watching an anime when I suddenly sprayed out a mouthful of cola, sending black liquid all over my body and freezing in shock. What do you mean? What do you mean changed? She shook her head. Owen isn't actually the real heir of the Song family. He's just a mistaken replacement from back then. The real young master of the Song family was actually living in the countryside all along and has already been brought back home. If nothing goes wrong, your arranged marriage partner is now this new arrival, the real heir of the Song family. That means all the feelings you've built with Owen were for nothing. By the way, Charlotte called you to come by the Song family today. She's probably going to tell you about this. My sister blurted it out in one breath, completely ignoring how I was taking it all in. Holding on to my soaked clothes, my heart was pounding hard. I still hadn't fully come to terms with what just happened. My family had already arranged a marriage alliance with the Song family even before I was born. Same-sex marriage is legally allowed here. So even though Owen and I are both men, this marriage agreement hasn't been broken. It wasn't until recently that I found out about the childhood engagement with the Song family's heir. Owen is quiet and aloof, always acting like he doesn't care for anyone. The first time we met, he didn't say a word, just stared at me straight on. There was something unreadable in his eyes. Deep, intense emotions I couldn't begin to understand. After some effort on my part, he finally started talking to me a little, and we slowly began to get closer as friends. Just when things were looking promising, my arranged marriage partner suddenly changed, and it wasn't even someone with any known background. Completely shady and unclear. Who wouldn't lose their cool over something like that? Still, I had to go see the Song family. I took off my sweatshirt, soaked through from all those fizzy soda drinks, and swapped it for a more businesslike shirt and trousers, reluctantly stepping out the door. Honestly, my original plan was to never marry anyone. Just live happily ever after with my anime boyfriends and girlfriends for life. Then, out of nowhere, this ancient engagement pops up, dragging me into a whole mess of problems. The driver dropped me off at the entrance to the Song family's villa. I adjusted my tie and gently tapped on the heavy door. Before long, a butler led me into the sitting room. The moment I stepped inside, I felt two intense stares burning straight into me, coming from different directions but equally hot. They sent a chill down my spine. I forced a smile and greeted Charlotte, pushing down the unease. "Samuel's here," Charlotte said with a warm grin, waving toward the other side. "Owen, come over, Theodore too." Hearing an unfamiliar name, I instinctively glanced aside just in time to see a guy walking toward Owen from the other direction. His eyes were full of amusement, a stark contrast to Owen's usual stoic expression. Both men arrived at Charlotte's side at the same time. She patted the boy on the shoulder and looked at me with clear regret in her eyes. "Samuel, I know you've always gotten along well with Owen, but we only just found out recently. There was a mix-up when the babies were handed over." I listened quietly without saying anything. "This is Theodore, the child we're actually related to. Owen was mistakenly taken in by accident. We've already talked it over with the other family, and both boys will be raised by our Song family. But about the marriage agreement." Charlotte pressed her lips together, clearly hesitant. I gave a small, polite smile. "It's okay. Don't worry about my feelings. I'm fine with whatever happens." The boy stepped forward and greeted me warmly. "Hi, I'm Theodore. I'm also a student at T University." "Wait, he's a fellow alum?" I blinked in surprise, then shook his hand. "I'm Samuel." I didn't notice Owen's gaze growing darker beside me. Charlotte spoke up again. "After thinking it over as a family, we believe you've been the one most affected by this, so we're leaving it up to you to decide how the marriage agreement should be handled. Would you rather keep going with Owen, or give Theodore a try? You're the same age. You should have plenty to talk about." I paused, suddenly getting the feeling of being handed a no-win question. The two men in question were standing right in front of me now. Owen had one hand in his pocket, silently watching me. Theodore wore a smile on his face, but it felt like there was something sharp beneath the surface. I swallowed hard, my throat dry, as I considered the possibility of choosing neither. Just then, a few lines of text flashed across my vision. "Who even is this side character blocking the way? The real and fake heirs should be together. Do they really think he'd pick one of them? I furrowed my brows slightly, staring at the sudden stream of comments in disbelief. Seeing that I hadn't made a choice yet, the comments kept flashing on and off. Is he actually thinking about this? No way. Break it off. Break it off. The real heir's back. This side character's job is done. The real and fake heirs must be the two standing right here. So that makes me the side character? Could together really mean Theodore and Owen? I studied the two standing side by side before me, both tall, both striking in appearance. One was handsome and cold, the other warm with that soft charm. They were practically made for each other. I accepted the comments take almost instantly. If that was the case, I lifted my head, pretending to struggle with a tough decision. I think they're all really great, but honestly, I'm the one who might not be good enough for them. So I've decided, break off the engagement. The moment the words left his lips, everyone froze. Charlotte was the first to snap back. Samuel, what on earth do you mean? Seeing me lower my head and fiddle with my fingers, Charlotte's voice turned urgent. Samuel, I know you might not be happy about this, but the engagement was already agreed upon long ago. It can't just be called off like that. I stayed silent. On the surface, I seemed stubborn, but really, I was at a loss for words, just as silence threatened to stretch into an awkward moment. Owen suddenly spoke up. His voice was deep and low, sending a shiver through the room. Samuel, are you sure you want to call off the engagement? My throat gave a small twitch. Then, a clear young voice broke in. Samuel, why don't we just try spending some time together first? It was Theodore. Charlotte nodded eagerly. Exactly. Give it a try. Don't rush into calling off the wedding. In the end, my idea to call off the engagement was firmly rejected by all three of them. Thinking back on that moment, I couldn't help but feel a bit confused. Where's the part about the real and fake young masters ending up together? The comments were clearly just as confused as I was. Shouldn't they have just agreed straight away when hearing about the breakup? What's going on here? Yeah, normally it's supposed to be the real young master falling head over heels for the fake one. Forced love kind of thing. Could this be some private little game they're playing? I tried picturing Owen being forced into a relationship. The image was too vivid. I couldn't even think about it in detail, but that last comment actually hit me like a light bulb. Maybe they're just playing hard to get. So I happily accepted Charlotte's suggestion that we spend more time together, looking at these two handsome young masters. Let me be the Cupid who saves all the fans and helps their romance bloom. Just before leaving, Theodore pulled me aside. Samuel, I'd like to ask you to go out to a movie tomorrow. I raised an eyebrow, puzzled. Just the two of us? Theodore nodded seriously. I hesitantly asked, won't we be bringing Owen along? He narrowed his eyes slightly, as if a little annoyed. Are you really that eager to bring him? I wanted to scream in my head. It's not like I want to bring him along. I'm doing this for you. Just as I was trying to figure out how to say it, another stream of comments flashed across my vision. The real master must be deliberately bringing the male sidekick along just to make the fake master jealous. Exactly. That's totally his little plan. Thanks to the comment stream guiding me, suddenly clicked. I clapped Theodore on the shoulder, my voice fired up with determination. Fine. I'll go with you, no Owen. Theodore picked a heartfelt indie film, perfectly matching his serene and understated personality. I couldn't figure out how someone like him could force affection on others. Guess you can't judge a book by its cover. I was feeling drowsy throughout the whole movie. It wasn't until the film ended that we joined the crowd exiting the cinema. Suddenly, Theodore looked at me with tears in his eyes. Samuel? Can I hug you? Ha! I was still half awake and totally caught off guard. Theodore wiped a tear away. The main characters were clearly in love, but never got to be together. I'm really heartbroken. Maybe this is what it means to be a true intellectual. Though I didn't really get it, I opened my arms anyway, going with the spirit of humanitarian kindness. Theodore's eyes lit up, and he wrapped me tightly in a full embrace. His arms locked around me, his head rubbing against my shoulder, voice muffled. Thanks, Samuel. You're really kind. I was suddenly handed a nice guy card. Kind of awkward, just as we were hugging, a voice cut in from behind. Samuel? I turned around in shock, only to see Owen with a stormy look on his face. He was carrying several shopping bags. Looks like he'd come by the mall to pick up some things. Theodore didn't seem surprised at all. He just curled his lips slightly. Brother. According to the Song family records, Theodore was born 1 minute after Owen. For some reason, I couldn't help but feel that tone had a hint of challenge in it. Seeing Owen's dark mood suddenly clicked for me. Owen was jealous. I leaned close to Theodore's ear and whispered, "Did you do this on purpose to make Owen jealous?" At that, Theodore froze for a split second. His ears turned red, a little shy. "So you figured it out, huh?" I nodded seriously. "I knew all along you wanted him to get jealous. Don't worry." Then I wrapped my arm around his shoulder. Seeing that, Owen strode over, his voice icy cold. "What are the two of you doing?" Theodore raised an eyebrow. "As you can see." Owen clenched his jaw, each word bitten off with cold precision. "Samuel, explain yourself." I knew this family wouldn't hold together without me. I cleared my throat. "Theodore and I went to watch a movie, but honestly, it was mostly for you." "For me?" I nodded confidently. Theodore must have known Owen would be at the mall today, so he deliberately invited me out just to make Owen jealous. The more I thought about it, the smarter I felt, like a total logic genius. I patted Owen on the shoulder and then Theodore's. "You two talk things through. I'm outta here." Then I took off without looking back, just to give them plenty of room to sort things out. I had no idea what was about to happen. The two of them were now staring each other down, tension thick in the air. Owen narrowed his eyes. "Taking him to a movie?" Theodore snorted. "Buying him gifts? To help us grow closer. Charlotte invited me to stay at the Song family until school starts." My perfect summer vacation ended way too soon. Even though I was secretly grumbling inside, I had no choice but to obey under the pressure from both sets of parents. By the time Owen got back, I was already sitting in the living room sipping on sweetened water, watching him return alone. I couldn't help but look puzzled. Wasn't Theodore with Owen? Hiding my surprise, I still forced a smile. "You're back." Noticing the way I kept glancing around, Owen's expression darkened. "Looking for someone?" "Theodore?" He stepped aside, revealing the empty doorway behind him. No one else there. Seeing that, I chuckled awkwardly and changed the subject. "Want to try some mung bean soup? Aunt just made it really good." I pushed the porcelain bowl toward him with a hopeful little motion, but he didn't even glance at the soup. His gaze kept drifting over my face instead. Before I could react, Owen leaned in and kissed me straight on the lips. A short, sharp gasp got cut off mid-sound. I just stood there, stiff and helpless, caught in the sudden kiss. Not a single regret for losing my first kiss. I was too busy panicking about our couple dynamic being ruined. Sure enough, a flood of pop-up comments flashed across my vision. "Long time no see. How'd the fake Heir end up making out with the side character? Not kidding. Those two actually do look like a match. But what about the real young master? He still doesn't know anything." After that, Owen coldly said, "Be with me." I nodded dazedly. By the time I realized what had happened, Owen was already back in his room. I only just now caught on to what I'd done. My face filled with panic. How did I end up kissing the fake young master like that and suddenly getting together with him? Will the real young master hate me to death? Just as I was caught up in anxious, nervous thoughts. Click. The door creaked open. Theodore peeked in. "Hey, Samuel." Still awake, I stiffly shook my head. Suddenly, he took a few steps closer. His eyes locked on my lips. "Your lips, why are they swollen?" I sucked in a sharp breath and instinctively said, "Just got bitten by a mosquito." Theodore tilted his head slightly, clearly not buying it. I kept talking to myself. Isn't mosquito season wild right now? They even spread chikungunya. Must have gotten bit by accident. Those nasty bugs. "Oh, just mosquitoes then." Theodore's tone was flat, but I swear he seemed a bit down. The viewers were thinking the same thing. Young Master Theodore is really smart. Otherwise, how would he have figured out his identity was wrong and been found back? He had been keeping an eye on the fake young master from the very beginning, so he probably already suspected the fake one was involved with the male supporting character. Young Master Theodore wouldn't do anything serious to the fake one, but with the male supporting character, that's another story. "What are you looking at?" Theodore suddenly leaned in close to my face. "You look kind of scared." I was already on edge from the viewer comments, and now I nearly jumped back when Theodore moved so suddenly, but that tiny reaction only made him annoyed. Theodore pulled me even closer, his voice low and soft. "Are you afraid of me?" He pressed his lips together, looking almost sad. "Samuel's actually scared of me? Then I'll keep my distance from now on. I thought you'd like me a little more after today's outing, guess not." Hearing that tone, so pitiful, like a discarded puppy. And remembering how the viewers had painted young Master Theodore as high risk, I decided I'd better comfort him. After all, whether the viewer comments were true or not didn't matter. The way Theodore looked right now was genuinely pitiful. I gently rubbed his hair and said, "I'm not afraid of you. I don't hate you either." His eyes lit up instantly. "Really? You really don't hate me?" I nodded firmly, and then, before I could react, Theodore pulled me into his arms again. He held me tightly in his embrace. All I could feel was the tight hug, my chest rising and falling in sync with the one beside me. Just moments ago, Theodore had been giving me that helpless, pitiful look. Now he was smirking at the stairs, his gaze locked right onto Owen's, who had just come down from the second floor. "Samuel, do you remember what you promised me?" Hearing Owen's voice, I couldn't help but recall that terrifying kiss. I stammered, "Well, it's not what you think." Theodore let go of me and gave us an amused look. Owen raised an eyebrow calmly. "You gonna tell him what we just did and said?" I bit my lower lip hard. "Aren't you the one who knew me first? Just because I'm not part of the Song family anymore, do you think less of me? We just kissed and agreed to be together. Now you're all over some other guy?" He said it out loud anyway. The words were harsh, making my face burn with shame. It felt like I was some kind of flirty, careless person. I couldn't bring myself to look at Theodore's reaction. Maybe I was afraid he'd come after me once he found out. Or maybe it was something else entirely I was scared of. But Theodore didn't seem surprised. He gave a soft nod, though there was a faint shimmer in his eyes. "So you still chose my brother, huh?" Theodore's voice wavered slightly. As soon as he said that, I got this strange feeling. Something was off. I opened my mouth. "Theodore, Owen cut me off firmly. "No need to explain anything. If you're with me, just be with me properly." "Samuel, don't you feel even a little bit for me?" Even after I made it back to my room, Owen's words kept echoing in my head, saying I felt nothing. That was a lie. I do want pure, burning love too, but I know better than anyone. This might just be Owen trying to get under Theodore's skin. The chat said they were meant for each other all along, and I was just the spark that pushed them closer. Thinking about it, my tears soaked through the pillowcase. I drifted off to sleep without even realizing it. The next morning, I stepped out of my room and happened to run into Theodore across the hall. He tilted his lips up slightly, like he wanted to say hello, but then it seemed like something crossed his mind. He fell silent and walked away. The chat room was buzzing with sympathy. Such a pity for the real Heir. He's been driven to this by the fake Heir and the male sidekick, even skipping the basic pretense now. The real Heir's about to go dark, isn't he? By the time I reached the first floor, Theodore and Owen were already sitting at the table. Owen handed me a bowl of oatmeal. "I made this for you. Drink it while it's hot." His voice cut off mid-sentence. He squinted at me, his expression darkening. "What's going on with all these marks on you?" "Can't say for sure." I answered honestly. Owen, frowning deeply, was about to say more when he glanced toward Theodore instead. The latter sat back with an air of calm indifference, as if he didn't care at all about our conversation. Noticing Owen's glance, Theodore calmly looked right back. A faint, almost imperceptible smile tugged at his lips. The fact that Theodore caught me trying to flirt with someone else hit me hard, and he heard it himself right from the start. After that, whenever he saw me, he just went silent. Only Owen would still talk to me every day. Strange comments kept popping up now and then. From the comments, I could tell that both young masters, whether real or not, are truly privileged and exceptional. Owen, I already knew from before. He was a well-known figure in university. As for Theodore, I only learned about him through the comments and Charlotte's explanations. He skipped grades in elementary and middle school. He's attending T University, where he's won countless awards both at home and abroad. Right now, he's even one grade ahead of me. Officially my senior. In theory, someone like him should have been someone I'd have met during school. But I'm a total homebody. I'd rather spend time with my fictional husband than hang out with real-life people. There were plenty of times when the three of us hung out together during holidays. I've been warned more than once by the comments to keep my distance from them. Thankfully, school's about to start. Owen goes to a school nearby, and I don't really know Theodore since he's from the same university as me. Once classes start, everything will go back to normal normal. That's when I can finally find a chance to officially call off the engagement with them. On the day we headed to school, Charlotte specifically arranged for Song family's car to drive us there together. Owen got out of the car first. His hand rested against the door, leaning sideways with a serious look in his eyes. "If anything comes up, text me." I gave a soft in reply. The car door slammed shut. Suddenly, it was just me and Theodore left inside the car. An awkward silence settled over us, thick and hard to describe. I leaned against the window, pretending to be asleep. Then I heard a quiet laugh beside me. Theodore leaned in close, his voice brushing my ear. "Your eyelashes are twitching. Really asleep, or just pretending?" A tingling shiver ran through me, like 1,000 feathers brushing past. I blinked sheepishly and opened my eyes. I was just resting my eyes. "Actually," Theodore nodded seriously, then suddenly pinched my cheek. I flinched, meeting his clear, innocent gaze. "Theodore, what are you?" He looked completely clueless. "I just thought your face looked like it'd be fun to squeeze." Couldn't resist. Before I could react, Theodore slowly leaned in. I stood frozen, staring as that strikingly handsome face drew nearer and nearer. Just as we were about to kiss, the car suddenly stopped. The driver ahead cleared his throat lightly. "We're here." Theodore gave a little pout, clearly disappointed. I suddenly realized what had just happened, but Theodore's hand still stayed pressed against my cheek. He trapped me in the circle of his arm, flashing a sly smile. He quickly leaned down and kissed my cheek before ruffling my hair. "Come on, Samuel." I stood there dazed, following behind him as my fingers brushed the spot where he'd kissed me. Wait. Did Theodore just kiss me? Staring at the straight, confident shape of his back ahead, I suddenly couldn't figure out what he and the others were up to. Once I got back to the dorm and saw my familiar roommates, my nerves finally eased a little. Our dorm leader gave me a sly look. "How come you two came back together?" "Huh? What, Theodore?" He grinned mischievously. "Don't try to fool me. I saw you two chatting downstairs with my own eyes." Clicked for me. "You mean Theodore?" He tapped my forehead lightly. "What other Theodore could there be? How did you even meet him?" "He's my crush. I've been dying to team up with him for the math modeling contest, but I heard he's not really into socializing. And, well, hearing that I knew Theodore, our dorm leader went on at length in a steady stream of chatter. I felt dazed, lost in thought. Theodore he described was nothing like the Theodore I knew. He was an incredibly strong and independent guy. It was completely different from the pitiful image right in front of me. Do you think someone like Theodore could ever fall for anyone? He's so strong, almost like he doesn't even need a partner. What do you think? Caught off guard by the question, I gave a half-hearted reply. Maybe. Who would Theodore even fall for? Owen's face popped into my mind. With that thought, I pulled out paper and pen, planning to write a personal letter breaking off the engagement. It was time for me to cut ties with them once and for all. Once the letter was nearly finished, I stretched out long and slow. I just about folded up the note and tucked it away when my dorm mate yanked me toward the auditorium. Come on. Let's go see Theodore's speech." In the bright auditorium, Theodore lit up the stage. Myself and my dorm mate sat in a quiet little corner of the crowd. He probably couldn't possibly notice me, at least in theory, but as soon as I glanced up, our eyes met right on stage. My heart seemed to pause for a beat. The speech ended perfectly. The dorm supervisor was about to call me to leave, but couldn't find me anywhere. No one knew that just moments ago, the dazzling Theodore on stage was now kissing me hard against the backstage wall. His kiss was nothing like Owen's. If Owen was about taking over, rough, demanding, then Theodore was all about luring you in bit by bit until you couldn't pull away. My voice came out shaky. "Why?" Theodore's brows dipped slightly, not answering straight away. "Break up with my brother, okay? Just do it for me." So all this was just to get me to break up with Owen. That engagement letter was sitting right there in my inner pocket now, hard and flat, pressed tight against my chest. I let out a long breath, then lifted my head. "All right, I'll break up with him." Theodore gave my earlobe a little pinch. "Such a good boy, Samuel." Dazed and disoriented, I made it back to the dorm and got a message from Charlotte. Saturday was Owen's and Theodore's birthday. Charlotte invited me, insisted I must come. I decided to break up with Owen right after that birthday party, and I'd make things clear with them once and for all. On Friday evening, I went to pick out gifts for the two of them. With my sister's advice, I finally settled on 2 birthday presents. I got a tie for Owen and a belt for Theodore. Back at my own place, I found my sister looking downcast. "Sis, You free for a sec? My sister, who was mid-call with her crush, gave me a surprised glance. Wow, you're actually reaching out to me for once. She quickly hung up the call and smiled brightly as she sat down across from me. What's up, little bro? I twisted my fingers together. I'm planning to break off the engagement with the Song family tomorrow. My sister spewed water out of her mouth, just like how I once sprayed soda all over myself. Only this time, it was still me who ended up getting soaked. Why? Those two guys have been really nice to you, haven't they? My sister studied my face carefully. I shook my head. We're just not right for each other. They probably don't even need me. The room fell completely silent. After a long pause, my sister suddenly broke the silence. What did you end up getting them, again? I answered obediently, a tie and a belt. Just be careful, little brother. Song family's villa. Owen and Theodore were both greeting the guests. I sat in the corner, quietly enjoying my dessert by myself. The gifts had already been given to the two of them at the start. Theodore hugged me with genuine surprise. Owen, on the other hand, softly kissed my earlobe. I told them I had something to say after dinner was over. The guests were all friends of theirs, so there weren't many complicated rules. This was also Theodore's first birthday party since returning to the Song family. The entire Song family took it very seriously, seeing Charlotte happily holding on to both Theodore and Owen. I suddenly felt a strange urge to step back. I began wondering if calling off the engagement had really been the right choice. As the birthday party neared its end, my heart started racing. After Owen saw off the last few guests, the messy living room instantly became empty except for me. Theodore lightly sat down on my left side, while Owen, arriving a few steps later, naturally took the seat to my right. Samuel, what's it you want to tell us? I took a deep breath and turned toward Owen first. Let's break up. Owen's smile froze right there on his face. He said stiffly, why? Theodore gently pulled me to his side. Brother, don't scare Samuel. But I quickly pushed Theodore's arm away. It's not just breaking up. I'm telling you both, I still want to call off the engagement. We're just not right for each other. Maybe the person who suits you best is already right here. So I won't bother you anymore. My voice got quieter and quieter, like I had no strength left. The moment the last word faded, silence filled the whole room. For a second, all I could hear was my heart pounding like a drum. Just as I was about to leave on my own, Theodore suddenly reached out and held my hand. Samuel, if that's how it is, will you stay with us for one last drink? To wish us a happy birthday. I nodded quickly in agreement. Owen brought out a few high glasses, and Theodore poured clear wine into them, probably feeling guilty. I quickly finished my glass. Even though I'm not bad with alcohol, one drink hit me hard. Just before I passed out completely, I saw Theodore open his mouth, as if saying good night. When I came to, my head was still a bit fuzzy. That drink really packs a punch. I grumbled to myself as I opened my eyes, ready to get up. The next moment, I heard the door creak open. Theodore's soft voice came through. Samuel, you're awake? I rubbed my throbbing temples and cautiously asked, what's going on here? Suddenly, I remembered the old warning from the comment stream. Could he be trying to get back at me for dating Owen these past few days? I was just about to shout for Owen for help. A familiar voice whispered in my ear, cold as always, Samuel. My shout caught in my throat. I froze. Was it Owen? How could he be here? I shot upright, and when my vision cleared, my heart gave a sharp jolt. Owen was standing right beside Theodore, just half a step away, wearing the same cool sandalwood scent as him. He must have come together. His hands were in his black suit pockets, eyebrows slightly raised. Nothing at all like the comment stream said. He'd always avoid Theodore. I asked blankly, what's going on here? Are we misunderstanding something? Theodore spoke up. No misunderstanding at all. It was Samuel who said he wanted to call off the engagement, so we thought it best to explain this face to face. I hadn't quite grasped what that meant yet when I instinctively blurted out, why do you need to explain this to me? Shouldn't you two be the ones together? Owen let out a low chuckle. Who told you we were an item? Not those comment bombs, was it? My whole body went rigid. A hand suddenly rested gently on my shoulder. Samuel, did they tell you about the real and fake Heir thing? I swallowed hard, feeling helpless. I couldn't figure out how things had turned out like this. Theodore spoke softly. Then make a choice. Whom will you pick between us? Owen added calmly. You've got 1 minute to think it over. When the time was up, Owen asked, have you decided who you want? I shook my head. I just can't choose. Then will you still leave? No, I won't leave. The moment the words left my lips, I saw Owen and Theodore smiling at me. Can we take this as you choosing both of us? Facing their warm, expectant eyes, I hadn't even had a chance to speak when Theodore gently pressed his finger against my lips. You've already made your choice, so you can't take it back now. Just then, the long-missed chat bubbles suddenly appeared. Long time no see. What kind of mess has this plot turned into? And it gets worse. Seems like the real and fake young masters have developed a mind of their own. They even know about the comments. Poor us supporting characters, still stressing over how to help them out, only to realize we're the ones who've been on someone's mind all along. Keeping things just as they are isn't so bad. After university, one took over the Song family conglomerate while the other started a business from scratch. My family's company is run by my sister. I happily joined an animation studio to chase my dream. It was late at night after finishing overtime work. I rubbed my shoulders and neck, dragging myself into the elevator. Before I even made it out of the office building's front doors, I spotted a luxury car parked at the entrance. Owen leaned against the car door, his tone clearly annoyed. Why are you working so late again? I gave a helpless shrug. I'm just an employee, unlike you who runs your own company. He smoothly opened the car door for me. Come on. Theodore already reserved a table at a restaurant. Throughout the drive, Owen kept complaining about my job. I should have told you to join our company earlier. Then you wouldn't have all this work. Who would have thought that Owen, who's so strict and serious in front of employees, would just let someone else slide like this? When we reached the private dining room Theodore had booked, the person inside was gazing at me with a soft expression. Samuel, do you remember what today is? I shook my head blankly. It's our anniversary. I glanced at the door, just shut by Owen, then back at Theodore, smiling sweetly. Another day being relentlessly stuck with these two again. Huh?